namely because we've seen this Weaver versus Prophet thing many times, and whether the lane matchup has evolved into numerous ways or not, we know that as the game progresses, if the Prophet can find that one critical moment where he can TP on top of the Weaver, secure either the Orchid disable or the disable that comes in the form of a Sheepstick, that Weaver is pretty much toast. So I feel like Alliance have the upper hand so far, but at the same time, ROX.KIS, very powerful early game.
Yeah, their early game control is amazing, which means Alliance do have to force something. That Enchantress ban from Goblike in the 3rd slot was possibly one of the best things he could have done, because with an Enchantress and Dazzle, they would have just either pushed the towers directly or dived in behind, and when you add Lycan into the mix-up...
Oh gosh.
Oh,
that's
dude.
Scary.
See, I actually have been casting more Asian Dota recently than I have European and American, so I'm going to give an Asian perspective for the first part of this, and then you can give the American and European perspective. But as far as Asia goes, especially VG Gaming, these guys have been like first picking it out above absolutely everything else. And you have one Necro hero, it's good. You have 2 Necro heroes, it's amazing. Because you basically got Lycan, Prophet, and Invoker. All 3 heroes would love going Necro books, and you can't stop that push. Goblike bans out the Chen right now. I don't think that was the initial plan, but he's sitting there going, if I've got a Chen army to deal with as well, I'm going to hit 20 minutes into this game and not be able to stop the push coming out from Alliance, because they have Vladimir's aura, they have all these minions, they all get buffed up damage as well, and they get a huge ass Lycan on the front lines, which I know is going to hunt my Lich, it's going to hunt my Treant Protector, and then Ember Spirit and Weaver are going to be there saying, I have no more buffers available.
Yeah, I think that Chen ban, just as you said, probably not planned, but certainly a necessity and obvious at this point. They don't want to find themselves being banged at their doors with maybe 100 different units of variations, and then have a Lich or Ember Spirit dishing out pitiful damage, just casting their spells and going, where did my damage go? Because they just don't have any impact against the Dazzle, as well as a mech push, possibly coming up from some of the other heroes such as the Prophet or a Dazzle that's getting really farmed from early towers. And speaking of which, plenty of towers will be going down, hopefully, in favor of Alliance, because that's what the draft looks like it's crafted to be. Now the Centaur ban as well, I think that's from a slight bit of Asian perspective as well. The last time I've seen that from the European scene was from Fnatic, where they completely rolled and ruffle stomped the other team. But now
I got to cast that game.
Yeah, that's right. And Darkseer being picked up, I don't know, man. They don't have very much counter push at all.
And the Iron Shell's not going to do that great once you see Admiral Bulldog pick up the Hand of Midas. Like you'd look for a double, like a double Iron Shell to try and slow it down. But a quick focus, like in the early game, is going to cause some issues, especially for Lycan, because Lycan's Wolves won't be anywhere near as effective ganking up the. You can just wait it out. When you get a hero like a Bane come in towards the mix, now they get the lockdown on 2 different heroes, one through the Nightmare. And actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm only seeing 3 things on the map, 4 things. 4 things on the map for ROX.KIS, which will stop that Fiend script, and 2 of them are ultimates.
Yeah, that's right. So I guess in that regard, they have options for counters. I do see the ultimates, as well as like the Vacuum, Ember Spirit with the Sleight of Fist, as well as the Searing Chains, if he's not the target of the Fiend script, possibly canceling that channel. But at the same time, I'm looking at Alliance's lineup and the synergy of it, and I feel like ROX.KIS they can't rival it in the early stages at all, even though they have early game heroes, quote unquote, and so to speak. Like the Bane as well as Dazzle together, it's like it's very similar to the Shadow Demon Dazzle. If they want to play it like that, what they can do is they can just sleep up the target, walk right next to him, and boom, drop a massive heal bomb that does ridiculous amounts of damage early. Not to mention it's physical as well, so against low armor targets, that damage is not mitigated at all. And it's just going to be a very rough scenario if Alliance decide to get the ball rolling early, because all these range heroes, as well as the push that they have, they're never going to let ROX.KIS pick up the pace that they're looking to with this game. So once again, I feel like Alliance have a very strong draft ahead of them, whereas ROX.KIS, they have a lot of commitment to the early game, but it's absolutely essential that they win their lanes.
Yeah. For guys on the live stream, I apologize. I do not know why the live stream just all of a sudden dropped for a moment. But yeah, we lost connection to our intake server. Things came straight back up again, so I am just keeping a very close eye on it. But yeah, just letting people know that no, it wasn't you and Dailymotion dropping. That was in fact somewhere on this end. So just a warning. Just a warning. But don't fear, don't fear. I'm watching. I'm watching. I never let a tech issue go unnoticed and unfixed. Nice thing is Brutus up there from BZZ. He's going to have himself a... I don't know if I'm going to say a great time here on this top lane with the Dazzle Bane as well as a Lycan up here. It's going to be a rough zone to try and fight in. It's really going to be a rough zone to fight in. And Admiral Bulldog's going to get a lot of quick levels on this bottom lane. He should be able to win a lane up against Seedoy on this bottom lane too, but they're giving him a lot of consumables to try and tank this up. But I like the switch up with the mid lane. So they put Ember Spirit here in the middle lane, but they combine him up with Yol. And that's the best thing they could have done.
Yeah, that dueling is actually extremely powerful because solo at level 2 with a Frost Nova on the Lich is pretty much going to guarantee a kill on the Invoker. And look what S4 does immediately. He saved his cards with regards to holding on to his spells, ended up somehow getting the first CS against the Ember Spirit with it. But as soon as he saw the Lich in the lane, he just went quas and he said, there is no way I can sustain in this lane against that kind of harassment and killing potential. I have to go the safe build. And right now there is no question in my mind that this has got to be OX class.
Oh, that's really smart by S4. Realized Solo was tanking up against two of the melee creep, so we just went for a quick cold snap harassment over on top of Solo, and managed to take away a large portion of his life and also force out a salve. Just a small thing, but in a lane like this, when you're battling up against a Lich as well as an Ember Spirit, you need anything to go your way. Especially when he hasn't finished up a bottle yet. In fact, what's over on the courier sitting, Stumpy is sitting a little bit further out from base right now. So I'm interested to see if S4 is going to finish up his phase boost first or just rely on his high levels up in Quas. Top lane, we've got Initiation. It's over on the Weave, but actually using him as bait to then go in on Golblack. They knew the Shikuchi was up, but it was a nightmare setup from EGM, which looked very, very hopeful from Alliance.
Yeah, this is just one of those things. Unfortunately, they try to do the heal bomb combination and instantly pop somebody, but pardon me, BZZ, I can't recognize him always because it's 633 sometimes, but BZZ, he reacted perfectly by taking off the Nightmare as well as scooching himself out. So just as you said, both teams were completely aware of what each other's kits were available and reacted perfectly.
You might also notice too that, oh, actually that's some ballsy play by EGM. He's got himself a salve, which I think is the only reason why he leveled that up. But he levels up in Feeble, overtaking up the Brain Sap. This top lane has been a main thing for ROX.KIS was Weaver, as well as the Treater searching for the Bane out of position. So go into a Leech Seed, harass him with range with a Geminate attack, and Shikuchi if possible as well. So then they can have the potential to get a first blood in one of these supports here. Because they're probably not feeling it on the Lycan. Going through his Stout Shield, not to mention his high life points, is going to be hard enough as it is. Let alone you've still got RK as well as EGM behind the lines. Going to make sure that Lycan will always stay alive.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard to pressure this tri lane no matter what. Once again, ROX.KIS's lineups, very good for aggression on some departments, but it's mainly trying to stay alive. Now, S4 is getting initiated on, but I don't think he's going to fall from this one. As a matter of fact, Soul better watch out himself.
Ooh, a quick turnaround with the Tornado. Solo's low on life, but I don't think he attacks with the extra tower hit. That may be enough for the bottle shot to the Prophet. In comes Bulldog. Ensures the first kill, but they're going to turn this into a double. S4, the attack hits up the hill. And that's a good thing for Yol. Admiral Bulldog needs vision. He's going to try and walk around. S4's coming back in for this. That's some ballsy play.
Your ignorance ensured your demise.
That was so cocky. I love watching this guy playing. Certainly one of the most cerebral players at the mid lane you'll ever see. He's all brains and just all calculations. It's really nice to see. He basically assumed that the Lich would not be able to get 2 attacks off with his slow animations as well as his slow attack speed. Decided to just go for it on the Evoker, saying, I got the Quas. To hell with it, if I die, it doesn't even matter at this point.
Did Lich actually have Frostblast? Because I checked him after and I wasn't sure, because it wasn't on cooldown when he died.
It probably just came up as he died. I'm not too sure, but basically you'll try to react as fast as possible, and S4 got the better of him.
That now means Alliance go 2-0, which takes their advantage, which was technically going the way of ROX.KIS just before that, with 700 experience as well as just a little bit ahead in the gold, but it racks up about 750 for both going their way. And Admiral Bulldog, he's intercepting the creep wave. They're trying to buy some space for them to dive on Golblack. And if not Golblack, they just force out the tower. And BZZ, they don't want to fight in him, but there's TP support coming. And this with Seedoy, they're going to try and fight. He's surging himself in with the Iron Shell, and RK really slowed down by that leech seed, massively controlling up the Dazzle. But they're all backing up. EGM, he's already used his Nightmare. They're surging up the list looking for the Frost Blast so they can keep EGM, and well, maybe they'll try and dive on the tower, but Admiral Bulldog comes in at the perfect timing for the Sprout. Enfeeble over on the Weaver too, so even if he dives an EGM, his damage output really is enough, which means that another Nightmare, Brain Sap is available. They don't have enough follow-up damage. Actually, no, it's not. He's short of the mana by 25. So Weaver would just run himself away to safety. But they did TP in a lot of heroes to make that top lane kill happen.
Oh yeah, but I feel like ROX.KIS still made the perfect decision with that regard. I mean, it's always a nice thing to see Prophet TPing it and creating like a favorable or an even situation to one that's massively favorable to the team with the Prophet, because it just creates that disparity in numbers. But at the same time, when you dedicate the Prophet as well as your tri-lane to commit for 1 kill and then all of a sudden you lose out on that department, it's bad. It's okay because yeah, a lot of times you force out TPs, but look at how ROX.KIS is reacting. Like, they have the Darkseer, he was very content with just, he farmed up a small jungle camp right there just now, is going to be able to rotate around and has a bottle, so he can decide to either bottle crow or just use that as an excuse to go back to base, heal up full, and return to the lane. Or the end, of course, the Weaver, who doesn't have any mana anymore, but out of that whole exchange, he's still fine in terms of HP because he salved up, as well as the Lich, who came in with boots, was able to help assist securing the kill, and now he can return to the mid lane to harass S4 some more. So, I don't know. I don't think it's all that bad for them. I think, as a matter of fact, I would say Alliance lost out of that.
Yeah, I agree to a point. I agree to a point. The only other point which gives an upside for Alliance is the fact that Admiral Bulldog has free space again on the bottom lane to farm up. And I still feel that as far as the pushing potential, the timing for Alliance goes, as long as they don't lose Lycan, and they don't delay out his Vladimir's offering, and S4 as well as Admiral Bulldog still get a decent level of farm in the early point to transition into the high-level Necro books, then Alliance's timing is still going to be better than ROX.KIS's. Because I'm still looking at a Weaver who's managed to pick up 10 for 0 in 5 minutes. For BZZ, that's horrendous CS. And the Darkseer might help make some space because he's managed to pick up 31. That bottom lane, Admiral Bulldog, he couldn't control the Darkseer, he couldn't control the double Iron Shells. There was just no way for him to possibly win that bottom lane, especially after he TPs out and maybe doesn't get everything he was searching for. So, yeah. Right now, I'm still feeling like Alliance is going to hit the sweet spot. It's a good start. It's a good start for ROX.KIS. They're not hitting their perfect farm, but it's a good start for them.
Oh yeah, I certainly believe that as well. As so long as their heroes kind of stay alive and, as you said, not get the perfect CS that they're looking for, the absolute best, they can still hit that timing because so long as their draft is intact, Nightmare never exists.
Middle lane, it got taken off by Yol. And S4, he still really wants to gank up on solo, but Yol was just there at the right time. They're still diving in. The Brain Sap is only level 1, so their nukage power is really not that great. Tornado is still available, but this is some over-aggression. Even though they do, it's the Howl buff up from Loader, which is giving them the confidence to do what they're doing.
Once again, a lot of synergy and that, global assistance with the Howl, the extra 20 damage, kind of functioning as a mini chilling touch from the Ancient Apparition, certainly helps the fray. But you know, some of these nightmares that are getting completely countered up by ROX.KIS's good awareness on their team. I'm gonna hold that thought because they're initiating on a solo. I don't think they can commit to that kill though.
They can't. They have to dive too far into the tower with Admiral Bulldog, who wanted to TP in when he did. That would have actually turned out perfectly, especially with the over-aggression coming out from Solo. We might kill Lycan in the meantime, but in comes Admiral Bulldog. They're searching for Solo. The Sprout can go. Bane is very low on life. With the Brain Sap and then the Nightmare into Yol, he's got enough life points to give him the space to survive. While Darkseer is trying to chase an Admiral Bulldog. He's already used his Phase Boot, so S4, he can turn into a Cold Snap, which is probably the reason why Seedoy isn't running up towards the high ground. But that's going to be, I'm not going to say a great trade for either team, but good defense support coming in from both sides.
Shadow Wave!
Certainly, I mean, the heroes at mid lane did not fall. However, Loda did perish at the top lane, so I think that's the biggest story. Even though it was on the other side of the map, ironically, it happens to be the biggest deal because on that Lycan right now, he can't afford any sorts of delays, and I think that's coming into play right now because he's actually rotated down to the safe lane, saying, you know what, I actually need to farm really, really badly because I need to get my items online and do this pushing thing ASAP before some of their carries begin to try and outscale me. It's not that Weaver gets like innately stronger than a late game.
Bottom lane. They're gonna go on Cedo right now. Loader, they're coming in for the heal bomb right around him as well, but he's still got Surge available, and then the Prophet Hold to bounce through. I was wondering when they're gonna get that extra point of damage, but it's gonna be Admiral Bulldog that takes it, and that fuels the Hand of Midas purchase.
Yeah, and he's gonna be very satisfied with that one. At 8 minutes after all the movement that he's been doing, seriously, nobody does it better than Bulldog, simply put.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
I'm thinking of something to feel to say, but I was listening to you type away, and I found it very entertaining. So
really?
Yeah.
You were easily entertained, man. Double GP's bottom lane. This might entertain you more. The courier is going to see Solo come in. He used the spirit to jump in once, twice, and then on EGM, gonna stun him up to start with. EGM, he's still got Nightmare as well as Brains Up available. He might have to use one or if not both of them right now. Stick Charges turns Edge Brains Up over on Solo, and S4 gives the Tornado, gives some extra buffing space up between both Alliance as well as ROX.KIS. Cedo not having a great time. An army of trees was Wolf Army behind him. He'll be able to surge himself away from that one, while EGM, 8 line points, will survive next to a Weaver. He's got 11 1 charges available as well as time lapse, but he'll need to use first 1 charges, then into time lapse, back into the lane, back searching for the TPing out Bane, but he just got there in the nick of time. I think BZZ was heavily relying on that living armor keeping him alive. Meanwhile, Yol ulti will fly down, but it got lost in the creep wave. He threw it on a tree as opposed to over on top of S4. The stun might go on load, but he's in wolf form right now. S4 came back to take the hits from it, and then into a tornado. We will actually die from that fall. After all of this, it's a comedy of fight right now.
Oh my goodness, that is very messy. You know, you remember that part where you mentioned that you're gonna need to wash your hands for some of this, man? That was dirty. That's quite intense right there. I can't believe that actually transpired the way it did. S4 came in after the Lich's huge mistake of misclicking that Chain Frost that could have potentially bounced earlier and prevented him from casting any extra spell. Instead, he says, "Oh, okay, you missed your biggest ultimate. I'm gonna come in." Little did he remember or notice that the Lich ultimate bounces at a huge range, was able to secure the second bounce on S4, and all of a sudden S4 took 500 burst damage. And now Cedo is going to fall at the bottom lane. I think no.
He's got enough life points. They want the Weaver out of everything else, and S4's sticking close to him. He doesn't have any other items though, and then the Frost Blast. It's a wonderful dusting time to come in from Yol.
To the cold grave.
Gonna pick up the over-aggressive Invoker.
Yeah, he's playing very cocky right now. That's all I gotta say about that, and it's really nice to watch because some of the plays that he's making are very skillful, but at the same time it's costing him deep too because he really can't be affording to die right now.
Ooh, BZZ. I'm wondering how long it's going to take before we see like defensive sentry wards coming out from Alliance. RK is known for planning them pretty thick, especially when you're considering pushing out lanes. Actually, then at the same time, yeah, they need them for the early stage of the game. They just don't want to nerf themselves going into that push still. They want to have bigger items up and running. They need to have those arcane brews finished over on Dazzle. BZZ, he was searching for Stumpy. Couldn't get close enough to see him properly.
But this is just the extent of what ROX.KIS's lineup is able to do, even against the lineup of Alliance. I really thought that if Alliance played this safe, passive for the first little bit, allowed their initial items to kick in the early game phases, and then just bring about the mid game super quick before ROX.KIS was prepared, that they could have toppled so many towers with much ease. But it's Solar now.
He's surged up, he's Iron Shelled, and he's trying to reach Loader in time.
Yeah, but Loda does have the shapeshift, so I think he would have been able to get out even if there was a follow-up from Goldblack.
And Goldblack was actually not wanting to come anywhere near that. The Wolves were harassing him down while he's just trying to jungle.
Took a fair bit of him on Nevs, actually, now that you pointed out. Only 3 armor on him.
Oh, EMP, Tornado, Solar. He jumps into the fist to try and evade it.
With success.
Oh, the Sprout, Solar again though. Spirit, it's so hard to trap an Ember Spirit. And now Goldblack wants to try and fight in the middle lane. Throws the ulti out. He only managed to pick up RK in this. EMP Tornado is still down, and Solo's running away. He doesn't want to be involved in anything really.
That ultimate from Goldblack seemed very casual.
I really think he thought okay, we can get just a quick pick off. Even if we only kill one, it's still worth it. And killing up the Dazzle, in my mind, is still worth it. But losing someone like a Lich in mid, with a Cold Snap, the Prophet only bouncing through, now Solo buys him the space. BZZ TP's in as well. RK, only thing he can do is Shallow Grave. He's got no extra support he can get from S4, and in fact, Solo just jumps down to pick him off so they can go back to Dazzle, who actually ended up TPing himself back out to base. So again, S4 gets punished, but Loda's pushing up the top tower. Cedo is trying to hold him off, and EGM's nearby. But Admiral Bulldog is also taking the tier 1 tower in the bottom lane. Tower's within deny range, and then Limping Armor makes it so it is not.
Yep. And honestly, this is how I feel like their draft has been crafted from the start. They should really look to avoid every single fight, and what they did at mid was perfect. I think the worst thing about it is for sure that S4 died, and I feel like he shouldn't have, because he could have just kept walking away with the Wex and probably outran the Weaver, even with the Scoochie factored in, as well as Solo, who was trying to ulti in. But he decided to see that Aki was getting pursued out. Hold that set up, getting pursued out.
Into a Fiend's Grip. There's nothing that's going to stop him. And this is a Darkseer who just got very, very greedy and bought a hand of Midas.
Ooh,
so he'll be able to catch up, but he's definitely nerfed himself at the start of this game.
Yeah, I don't know about the Midas pickup right now, because it would work out if the game went on beyond 25 minutes, but I feel like with Alliance beginning to kick in with their pushes right now, Bulldog on the other side of the map with 5 trees ready to go for the push, and Alliance pushing the top tower down like that. 6-6 score, but it seems like things could go very well in favor of them very quickly. But just as I say that, ROX.KIS do secure themselves a nice counter move, which is the taking of the tier 1 tower at mid lane. Yeah.
ROX.KIS is still looking very, very good. The only thing I'm fearful of is what I've been watching for the past like 2 weeks, which is the Lycan 20-25 minute push with Necrobooks.
Exactly.
That's the main thing I'm really still scared of for ROX.KIS. ROX.KIS, as far as stats go, you're not going to say this is a bad one. Weaver is slowly caught up with his farm. They've got 2 kills up on him, even if there is 1 death. He's got Medallion Treads as well as Ring of Aquila for 14 minutes in for not the best start in the world. You've got Solo on this bottom lane. It's got Phase Boots and a drum. Like he's going into the treads, but it's taking him some time. And you've got Cedoy with a hand of Midas and a bottle. That's basically it. You can have Urns on support, you can have Arcane Boots as well. That's not going to save heroes like Godblack, who gets EMP Tornado and the Prophet ulti to bounce through. And the Wolves are still searching for an extra kill over on Cedoy. So basically, the point I'm trying to make is, ROX.KIS had a decent start, but it hasn't transitioned into items that's going to let them defend against the Alliance push.
And once again, they certainly don't have the right pieces when it comes to picks, because counter push comes in very, very heavy commitment on their part, and that is pretty much a 5-man aggression or team fight, if you would. So in terms of dealing with split pushes coming out of the Prophet as well as Lycan, it's just going to be so difficult to topple that hurdle. And once again, ROX.KIS, they must feel hard pressed right now to do something, and by that I mean some sort of rotation that'll secure a really big core kill without losing a tower. And honestly, I don't see too many possibilities in that regard.
It's kind of hilarious that we say, yeah, just rotate around, try and secure a tower when you got a hero like an Ember Spirit that can be everywhere on the map. But
yeah,
he doesn't. Like, we talked about a glass cannon build because you can do that when you have heroes like Leech Seed and then Frost Armor, so the Treant Protector as well as Lich really do enable him to do this kind of stuff. Lich, are we gonna give this a shot? No, it's just an EMP Tornado to just piss off Solo. Actually, it's gonna be middle lane. Fiend's Grip is available, then EGM, he's walking up towards the high ground, Sentry Ward, now to go to the Fiend's Grip. The back will cancel this off, however, and with the time lapse and now Living Armor, he can turn around and try and fight on EGM. He's got 9 1 charges available, Nightmare in 1 second, it's taking too long, especially with the bug on top of him. The heroes just TP themselves out. Loda's pushing the bottom lane, while Godlike will battle one-on-one with S4.
And this is, once again, the impact of not being able to secure really early towers for Alliance. They've been doing these small skirmish aggressions every now and then, especially with Bane as well as the Prophet TPing.
This TP bottom lane, Solo's gonna have a crack at Loda. But Loda, he's still got his Druid. There you go. Up into the wall, runs away. They need the extra stun to try and hold him there. He's moving up, he's moving down. You're on basically a wild goose chase. Another stun. Loda tries to TP out.
He's no more.
Not fast enough, so they lose Loda on the bottom lane, which is not great. But at the same time, he finished up his Necrobook and bought a TP scroll before death, so he didn't lose any money. And they gained the tier 2 tower up on top lane. EMP Tornado into Godblack. Admiral Bulldog comes in with his level 2 Necro units. And they'll be able to secure this top tier 2 tower.
Yeah, the push is
Dire's
it's inevitable
top
at this
tower
point.
has
The only
fallen.
2 towers standing are the 2 towers at mid lane. Of course, Seedoi can't really pursue this out with just the vacuum as well as Surge because he might just get turned on by Invoker and Prophet, who are both more farmed than him and stronger range cores at this point in the game. So once again, these teamfight scenarios are what ROX.KIS has to force, but they're just getting split up and torn apart from every single angle. We saw at bottom lane, they secured the Lycan kill, just as you said, but it just wasn't enough because the aggression was actually on the other side of the map with the main story of 2 of Alliance's other 2 cores securing the kill on Gold Black as well as the tower yet again. And even at bottom, as you said, they just couldn't stop the tower from falling even though they got the kill. And it just goes to show the power of the Alliance push with the Necrobooks, with their heroes. And as you say that, we see Bulldog picking up book 3, Loda has already his book 1, and S4 is going to go into his Orchid to counter up the Ember Spirit. So can we say Alliance are standing well even though the standoff is happening in the score? It's 8-8. I would say Alliance has a huge favor.
If you look at the gold advantage, you'll understand where we're really moving with this game. 5,000 advantage to Alliance, most of which they've claimed in just the last 4 minutes. This is the problematic thing. And now you also add an Orchid disable coming out from the Invoker. We're not going for the full push, which is actually which is quite right. Like you're going, in fact, BKB. In fact, is this Weaver even considering that? This Weaver is a Mithril Hammer in his stash right now. He might be looking at straight Desolator and we go full glass cannon out from ROX.KIS. And I actually agree, this is the only way they can do it.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, of course, without the BKB, he's literally going to melt the Prophet ulti as well as Invoker spells. There's no doubt about it.
And
but
he can't do anything about the Necro units either.
Yeah, exactly. But he has to go for that opportunity when he finds them. And now S4 but he has the combo.
Very smart with the Orchid to stop Solo from getting the stun off, and now Solo low on life, low on mana. You're trying to force out this tower at the same time in middle lane. Our buff up's already been triggered. This tier 2 tower will be traded quicker than ROX.KIS can do theirs. And Tree Protector just got killed off. Wait, how did that happen?
He died to the tower, I think.
Has fallen.
with Invoker.
They're losing tier 3. The Weaver's giving such a huge buff up to every single one of these minions. Fortification. Now Solo's going to try and jump in. He'll be bouncing around inside this fist forever. While the Lich ulti also, again, going into the fight. They've only picked up the Bane, but they've got to look for more here. With the 3 heroes, they can lock him up. Double stun. Arcane tries to turn a fight with the EMP burn. There's already the Shallow Grave being used on Arcane. It's going to keep him alive for now, but with the Geminate attack, extra hit, BZZ will be able to pick up a double kill from this. While Loda's in his ultimate form, they needed more help during that fight. And Admiral Bulldog, well, he's actually just saying, screw this. We're back to our rats. Loda goes into farm. The 3 cores of Alliance still survive through that while they picked off the Darkseer, who still hasn't transitioned into that mech yet. Because he went to Hand of Midas, he still hasn't got his first key item.
Now we look at Bulldog, who's just rotated bottom, has his ultimate up for an extra surge of gold if he would desire, but I'm pretty sure he's going to save it for the next engagement / team fight. Now, he's got almost 3k gold on top of being the most farmed hero on the map with Necrobook as well as the Midas. And by Necrobook, I mean Necrobook 3, because right now the story for everybody is not a Necrobook 3. Loda still has his Necrobook 1 on his 1 position hero.
Frost, BTZ's going to stick with him on this one. Puts the bug on him. There's 9-1 charges. There is a gem over on Yol, and that's why Nightmare is applied to Yol. Keep him away from the Invoker. Arcade comes in to give an earn charge, and the TP out very, very smartly by the Lich. Gets all the way back to safety. BZZ will also Chikuchi himself out. Wants to make sure he's home and host.
Roshan has fallen to the Radiant.
Meanwhile, yeah, Roshan does get taken out by
Solo.
Bulldog as well as...
He steals an Invis rune. But you're right. I think Solo is considering trying to defend on Roshan, but they should consider middle lane, protecting their 2 supports already. There's the silence over. It's holding Goldblack out of play right now while the Lich will pop. Goldblack gets a decent ulti, but with the weave coming up from Arcade, they're getting stronger and stronger. Tornado hits on Seedoi. He'll be locked in position with the Fiend Script. The Gen gets also swiped away from ROX.KIS, and this will be mid-racks, and I would not be surprised if we even see a GG call coming up from ROX.KIS. I do not see them being able to repel firepower of this magnitude.
Yeah, I don't know what Goldblack's going to do now. He's rotating back in, but he doesn't have ultimate now.
Oh, watch him go. Wait. Oh, EGM! Shallow Grave has to be used on him. It's the only way to keep him alive. The EMP will burn out the Weaver. He was on the front lines of all of that. While Solo's Nightmare up, they're diving in deeper for Goldblack. I don't know if he'll die from the Tornado fall. In fact, he'll die from the Cold Snap follow-up. While Solo, wow, it's a triple kill for S4. ROX.KIS are basically feeding themselves to him right now. And there it is,
It almost
GG.
seemed like it. Yeah, almost seemed like it at the position that he was chasing after Go Black, and all of a sudden a nice solo just happens to land upon him with pretty much all of his HP bar gone. Now the GG is called, but I think it was predicted, Toby. Just as you said, from 20 to 25 minute mark, this kind of pushing lineup that Alliance had crafted for themselves from the very start of the game, it seemed like a recipe for disaster for ROX.KIS, and honestly, they did fine in their lanes, just as you said, but it just couldn't transition out to anything bigger than that, because once they lost